Hello, my name's Chris Paul, and I am the CEO and founder of Man on Inverclyde, a mental health charity based in Greenock in the west of Scotland. And we're bringing you this message today to raise awareness of mental health and raise awareness of our charity and how we can maybe support you, your friends, or your loved ones if you need it. Now, we started off as a suicide prevention charity and we're continuing that mission. We want to break the stigma attached to mental health. We want to break the stigma attached to men's mental health, and I know that a lot of men will be listening to this podcast. So please get in touch with us via Man on Inverclyde on social media. You'll find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you're not on social media and you want to get in touch with us via email, just type in support@manoninverclyde.com. Our landline here is 01475 910 258. So yeah, get in touch with us if you're struggling with your own mental health or you're concerned about a friend or a family member. One of our staff members, our volunteers, here to support you. Thanks for listening.
Hello and welcome to the Gallant Few Rangers podcast. My name's Colin McDuff and I'm delighted to be back hosting another episode of the 10 Questions, the show where we ask a different guest every week to come on and answer our 10 questions on their time following Rangers. We've had some terrific guests over the last few weeks with some terrific answers on their time following Rangers, but for the first time ever we've got a former player coming on to talk about their time at Rangers, both following Rangers and playing with Rangers. And what a first former player to have, a genuine Rangers legend, Ian Durrant. Ian, how you doing?
Evening, Colin. Pleasure, absolute pleasure.
No, the pleasure's all mine for having you on, mate. So I promise not to kiss your arse too much at the beginning because you probably get it a lot, but let's be honest, you'll be hard pushed to find a Rangers fan that doesn't know who you are, what you achieved at the club. But this, we're probably going to talk about your playing career, but these 10 questions, they were usually tailored towards fans. So probably what I know first and foremost, you were a Rangers fan before you started playing. How'd that come about?
Just where I was born, Cannon Park, a stone throw from Ibrox. Used to walk to the games or try and skip in if I wasn't playing football. Got at an early age with my schooling at Bellahouston, we got a chance of being a ball boy now and again. So from an early age, it was just ingrained in me. Now the full family followed Rangers, and it just follow now your dad and your brothers and just follow them. That was it.
You always tend to take after your dad, don't you? It's the team your dad supports, the team you end up supporting. That's the right way you go about it, isn't it?
It was more my uncle Jimmy. My dad he was a scaffer, so he maybe worked with my uncle Jimmy, my mum's brother. He was now a merchant sailor, and when he come back now, he would take us to the games most Saturdays.
Brilliant. And so it wasn't growing up next to Ibrox and then playing for Rangers, making your debut and that must have been. But what was that like, even for like your family and that? Did you ever? If it was me and my brothers, I'd be wanting to be like swaggering like Conor McGregor, man. If it was me,
it was just where we came from. Now the whole of Cannon Park turned a bit, but it just I lived the dream. You know, when you get the opportunity, when you're standing in the old dairy watching the game or skipping in now to the Centenary stand, that was it. And you always wanted to follow your boyhood hero. Did I think for a minute would happen? No, you don't. But as I said, I got the opportunity and I loved it. Now from day one, the coaches Stan Anderson, Joe Mason, Davy Proven, now they take me on board and teach me the way. And obviously under John Gregg, who was the first manager, and then the second manager who played me, Jock Wallace, now ingraining into what a Ranger was all about. And just as I say, I lived the dream, and I was fortunate enough to I've done that jersey a few hundred times, so it was a great pleasure for me, and obviously my family are very proud.
Amazing. So you've got so many choices to choose from when answering these questions, mate. Both as a fan, either side of your playing career, and then for your playing career as well. So 10 questions, one answer each. How hard did you find it to narrow down to one answer for each of them?
Oh, there's a few. It's nothing else. There's always when you're thinking about it, and then 2 minutes later something else will pop up, and then another name will pop up, now you forget about that, and another name will pop up, and another venue, and another place. It's like anything else now. As I said, I was fortunate enough over the years to be in so many special places and play with so many special players. That's the thing. Now, trying to pick out individuals is very hard for me, because in my time, I thought I played in special teams, and there was special players, but we had a great bond in our team through the manager who were big on that, and I thought there's a big thing that stuck with me. Now, the players in the dressing room, I don't miss playing or training. Now, I just miss the dressing room, getting in the morning, a Monday morning, and missing the banter. That's the thing you miss.
I think that's what we'll obviously come on to the questions, but when a lot of fans think about that nine in a row team, I think the biggest thing that they do talk about is the characters in the dressing room, and just that team bond and that togetherness. That was even 30 years on, it's still apparent, and that's a lasting memory of that team at the time.
Yeah, a special team. But as I said, even before that, the groundwork went into the 9 in a row. It was all hard work. Started off with the gaffer Graham. Then the gaffer took over, Walter, and I just carried on the baton. And unfortunately, we missed out in 10, but some great characters now. The goalie, Gaza, Goffey, McCoy, Ian Ferguson, even the foreign boys, Loudon, Jockey Bjorkland. Now, what used to say, one madman would leave, and another madman would come in and take his place. And it was just like a bit of jigsaw went out, and another bit of the jigsaw was replaced, and they were all great. And the good thing about them, they were all talented football players.
Aye, it's always a bonus, isn't it, when you're trying to go for trophies. So let's start for the top then, Ian. What's your favourite ever Rangers goal?
Oh, there's that many, but I think now I was fortunate enough to score against Celtic a few times, and they're the ones that always come up. And just at the first time, it was actually my third game against Celtic, and I scored. It was a game that wasn't televised. Now, I think the old firm had fell out with the BBC, and it was, you can get it in a camcorder. I've watched it on YouTube a few times, but you don't actually see me. You just hear the roar, and some of the shouts were frightening, some of the tackles, and I don't even think it hit the back of the net. It creeped over the line, but that's just it. And then my usual, I made a B1 freestyle closure. I knew my brothers and that being there. And after that, I was given the freedom of Kinnan Park after that. After scoring against Celtic, that was me. So I was the free man at Kinnan Park, and it was just. Now, it wasn't the most spectacular goal, but it's just the goal, and it set me on the road to stardom.
And what year was that? What age were you then?
I was 18, and that was in 1985 at Ibrox. And we beat them 3-0. Myself, Super David Cooper, and Super Ali scored. And it was a memorable game, because we were under a wee bit of pressure at the time, and Celtic were the dominant team. But we turned up that day. We were absolutely outstanding. And Big Jock gave us a great team talk before the game, which now set us on the way to a 3-0 victory.
18-year-old and scoring against Celtic at Ibrox. I'm probably going to sound a wee bit daft here, sorry, when I ask this, but hear me out. So what's it like? Do you manage to enjoy it at the time? Because see at the stands, when obviously it's electric when we score against Celtic, but then it's just that old firm nerves. We could be 3-0 up, and my nerves don't settle until the final whistle goes. Do you get to enjoy it at the time?
I've been there, Colin, watched the game, and a bag of jagged. See when you're younger and you're thrown in the environment, you do enjoy it. I know it sounds daft, but as you get older, your wee farting clapper starts going a wee bit more. But you relish the moment. But the big thing with my family and all that, being at the game, and now half a Kinnan Park turn out, now being a local boy, you don't want to let any of your pals out, and that was the thing. So I was going out, as I said, at a younger age, 18, there was no inhibition. I just went out and enjoyed it, and then you take it for granted. Now you think, oh, this is a doddle beating Celtic 3-0. Then you get a rude awakening sometimes when they give you a doing, but fortunately that never happened too often. But again, it was the way it was, and Big Jock. Now he'd rely on the older players, like more experienced players, and let the younger ones go and enjoy it. You knew we had legs. Myself, Derek Ferguson, were playing, Hugh Burns and Robert Fleck, and they're the four young boys. And so we were going in, but we were in there merit. And now likes of Coisty, David Cooper, Dave McKinnon, Ali Dawson, Derek Johnson, they were all part of the team, and they gave us a great grounding. But it was you want to make your debut, and you want to play, and you want to make sure you make an impact. And I made an impact, and I carried on from there, and had a great record against Celtic.
Happy days. Started you mean to go on then, I suppose. That's
Exactly, that's the way it is.
so. Good one to kick us off with. On to the next question. Where's the strangest place you found yourself watching a Rangers game?
We were up. Graham Souness took us one time in a tour of Switzerland, and just we started off really badly. We got a thumping off Zurich 5-0, but for some reason we were just into pre-season and we're only up and running yet. So he hastily arranged this game in the mountains against FC Sion, who were up there in the mountains. And it was honestly up in the mountains, and there was these goats round about. It was like something out of the Von Trapp family, and now the hills are up, and we're just sitting there. And, you get the starting 11, and I started the second half, and so you're sitting there in the first half watching it, and just this sitting in the Swiss Alps, and it's just the most unsurreal atmosphere, but just a beautiful place. And then again, we won that game, and then we kicked on pre-season, but just sitting there on this grass embankment watching Rangers play now, I don't know, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 feet above sea level in Switzerland and you've got the usual now, the fans find out what the game is, so the usual fans there, and there's beer and there's big burgers and sausages and everything flying about, and you can see this burger van. It was just watching it, and it was just, now sometimes you pinch yourself in some of the places you've been at.
Is that
Vladdy Kafkas was an interesting one. Now, where it was situated, but again, we got a great result. That was an interesting journey to get to Vladdy Kafkas.
How long did that take us to get there?
Oh, I think we were there for I think it took us about 3 days. We had to Glasgow, Moscow, and then stop Moscow. The wee Jimmy Bell gets all his hampers raided as usual through customs. Then we get to Vladdy Kafkas, and again, wee Jimmy's hampers get a tanker again. So just you know what it's like, just everything, and we get there. You feel as though you've been on a plane for about 3 days, but it was good. And again, the result made up for it, because we did a great result in Vladdy Kafkas.
Aye, so the journey back must have been enjoyable. I take it they still served you a beer in the planes back in the days.
We got a beer, a wee red wine coming back. And the funny thing is, we flew. Now, obviously, it was a chartered flight, and it was Nicky Lauda Airlines. So there you go. He's good at racing cars, and he's got lovely planes. And we come back, and then again we stopped off in Moscow and then back to Glasgow.
Brilliant. So the next question is kind of along the same lines, Ian. What's your favourite ever trip or day away with Rangers, or like away game, I suppose?
Oh, there's been obviously the European ones, but they used to entail a few days. Been to some great places, but there was a great time in again when Graham Souness organised a game against Monaco. And we're playing he arranged the game, and just Graham being Graham arranged the game. So we playing the Thursday, we've got a league game on the Saturday, and the SFA they weren't too happy. So he took us to Monaco for a day, and we enjoyed it. We went and played Monaco, then come back right after the flight, and all the wives and the girlfriends went shopping. Cost the boys a few bob, but it was like, no, that's the way it is. Graham being Graham. Now, didn't think the team were doing well and organised the game, but the way he was, and just arranged it. So that was us. Went to Monaco, played Monaco, beat them 2-1, then back in the flight about 5 o'clock.
That you must have been buzzing hearing that. Just a wee day trip, a wee mini holiday halfway through your working week.
It does. I don't think we played too well on the Saturday, and then all of a sudden, right, just bring passports, and now the way it was, bring passports Thursday morning. So we arrived at Glasgow Airport, and if you want to bring your wife, your girlfriend, and that was it. So I was going out with my girlfriend at the time, so she had a wee trip to Monaco, and that was great. And all the wives, as I said, the wives had a great day. Now we get to Monaco early doors, and they can go shopping, and they turn up for the game. You're in the Principality, and then they enjoyed it, and that was the way it was. And we come back, and then we got a great result on the Saturday, so the journey was worthwhile.
Aye, it definitely worked, but you could have given me 100 guesses what you would have got after him soonest after a bad result on a Saturday. A trip to Monaco wouldn't have been one of them.
Oh no, exactly. He's shown his soft side to me for once.
I bet that didn't happen too often.
I can't remember. On one hand, I don't think I remember that much.
Well, at least it's a memorable time you got a holiday.
It was a great, brilliant. It's the only thing I got off him.
So the next one, Ian, what's and I suppose I'll open this up to the training ground as well, because you've probably got a few belters, especially when we go back to what we were saying at the start, with the team you played in and all the characters. What's the funniest thing you've seen at a Rangers game or during your training days?
Oh, the training days is the one, again, with me and Souness involved. And then we played the Scotland-England games on a Friday. And there was and myself, Coisty, David Cooper, Derek Ferguson. Jimmy Nicholl used to play for us in Northern Ireland. We were against Terry Butch, Roberts, Chris Woods, Ray Wilkins, Trevor Francis. But Souness used to play for England now because he spent most of his career down there. But we were delighted anyway, because anytime he played in our team, we get beat. So we're there and we're playing and we're doing the usual, the Gallus Scots. And we're 3 or 4 up. He says we were, and all of a sudden we're flicking the ball about and he's raging. And you can see he was coming for somebody. So who does he pick on? Me, 8.5 stone. Have to run about the shirt to get wet. And so he's coming with this horrendous tackle. And I sort of know the wee ball wobble, something about that, bump and back up again. But I'm looking up and I've got the ball at my feet and I've said to the gaffer, "Is that your best?" And he said, "No, this is." And he gave me a right hook. so I wasn't doing a wee ball wobble with that one. I wasn't getting back up. And as I'm going down, I can see Coisty and Butcher and David Cooper's got Graham Roberts and a half Nelson, Jimmy Nichols rolling about with Ray Wilkins. And just absolute madness. And but he created it and he loved it because we're all fighting with each other. And that was the thing he loved. Now he said how we train and how we play. And, but it didn't really work out that way because we get beat with Dundee United 3-2 the next day. so that sort of goes against the grain. But just one of these days now we're competitive and that's the way he wanted it. Now, as I said, he wanted us to train the way we played.
Aye, and that definitely translated onto the pitch, didn't it? I don't think there was too many right hooks getting thrown on the pitch, to be fair. But
no, there was a couple of these tackles, but there wasn't too many right hooks. I got the right hooks, and but again, just that's the way it was. And as I said, now you wouldn't have swapped it for a minute, but it was funny. But he dished out a fair right hook. I may add.
I'm curious to know what's the aftermath of that. Like, does he apologise there and then, or does he apologise at all? I suppose that's.
He did, but he came into there's a meeting, and you're going, "Oh no, what's going to happen now?" So you're sort of, and he came in and he goes, "Well," he sort of apologised, but the way Graham now interpreted it, now he's making out that's the way I want it and all that. So you quickly forgot about it, and then now you're. As I looked around the restaurant with Brown, I've got a sort of like an ice pack just below my cheek, and David Cooper's got an ice pack in his lip. Graham Roberts has got an ice pack in his shin, and boys, their knuckles and that. And that's, but as I said, it didn't really work to our favour because we get beat the next day. But that's the way it was. Now you great characters and great winners. Now obviously the gaffer, Terry Butcher, Coop, Coisty, all the people, and that's the way that's training was. And as I said, now we sat down and had a laugh after it.
Changed days for football nowadays, isn't it?
Oh, it's chaos. I know, and the best it was now that we trained at the old Albion. Now the fans were in, they were watching it. Now they come in on a Friday and they're seeing us all rolling about the ground. Oh, dearie me, man.
Oh.
Now you be up in the High Court and front page of everything. But it just, that's nothing. There's no social media at that time, so there's no mobile phones. Just word of mouth, and you went, "Nah, but it's not. We weren't fighting."
God help the poor granda or something. Choose thinking that I'll take my grandkids up to watch Rangers train that Friday.
Exactly. Oh, we're all cursed and swearing and shouting, "Ball, I'm going to have you." Oh, that's the way it was. But listen, sometimes sometimes training became a wee bit volatile, and that's the way it is. And sometimes people let off steam, and that's the way it is. You just got on with it.
All right. So, only the next two questions are based around the players, and again, it's either players you played with or players you watched as a fan, either side of your career. And probably is a wee bit unfair keeping this one in. So, the next one is. Who's the Rangers player that you didn't quite rate, but everybody else seemed to love?
I didn't rate.
Aye.
There's no many. No, I can't. There's a few people that have struggled who I thought that would have been world beaters when it first came. Now, Pierre Van Vossen at training at times was unbelievable, absolutely electric, but didn't really seem to now hit the heights. Now, when you see now what you've done for the Dutch national team. there's been a few. Jan Batram, now again, maybe couldn't handle the size of the club. Now, and but great guys, and now came with great pedigrees. We Stolly Stensas, again, came with a big price tag, but again, couldn't handle it. And but other things, but I wouldn't, they gave their all, but just sometimes now, well, it's been well documented that the weight of the badge on some players is too much to carry. And again, but now they're 10 out of 10 in terms of their effort and that, but sometimes it just doesn't work for you. As I said, now the level of ability some of the players had, and it just never kicked off them.
Obviously, like as Rangers fans, and an element of bias, but growing up being Rangers fans and watching Rangers week in, week out, we get the gravity of the club. How shocked did you used to see like the foreign players come in? Like, did they understand the size of the club, or did it take them a bit of time to adjust? Were they surprised at it?
Some took a bit of time, but they knew the enormity of the club. Oh no, that was ground in them. Don't worry about that in the dressing room. Now, I think Jockey Botland knew nearly every song and everything about Rangers, sitting next to Ian Ferguson within 10 minutes of meeting him. That's just the way it was now. And now you try to tell them as much as you can. Now, be prepared. Now, there's what will happen. Now, there's 2 newspapers grasping for 10 stories a day in Glasgow, and just that. But they grasp it. Loudrup, now Bjorkland, now George Alberts, Jesus, Jonas Term for a short time he was there. They love the club. And even when you see them now, the way they speak about Amoruso, Gattuso, now Negri, the way they talk about the club now, it's now like their second home. And that came for the gaffer. Now, as I said, now getting these players into the dressing room, and as it's hard now because they're coming out their comfort zone, obviously from a country, and then coming to Glasgow. But the dressing room at that time was tight, some great characters, and I think it made it a lot easier for the foreign boys to come in and enjoy themselves and play the level of football that some of them produced.
Aye, it's a very easy club to fall in love with, and the players you mentioned there, it's you can't be a football fan at all if you're not even moved by like some of the nights you see at Ibrox. It's unbelievable.
It's the way it's not even just now. Even now, when they're welcome back, now they get the red carpet. Michael Moles can't speak highly of Arthur Newman. The De Boer brothers were over yesterday saying how much they loved the club. Now, albeit Frank was only here for 4 or 5 months, but he said the 4 or 5 months was so enjoyable. George Alberts, now the hammer. I think he's got a flat in Glasgow now, George. Now the amount of times he's over, and as I say, big ammo, and it's great. But now the club, they play a special part in everybody's heart. And now if you're doing well, everybody knows it's breathtaking what the club can do for you.
Aye. So the other side of these questions, then, mate, it's well, we call it the Sasa Papach Award because growing up, he was my first proper unsung hero at a time. You know, when I was a teenager, and classic 7 out of 10. So this is the Sasa Papach Award. But who's your Rangers unsung hero?
I know, I actually forgot to mention Big Sasha, Big Mr. Dead. He was horizontal. Peely Wally complexion. But for me, when I was playing, there was a wee guy playing left back, Stuart Monroe. And I don't know how many left backs Graham Souness tried to bring in, but we Matt Monroe just shrugged his shoulders, he got on with it and played nearly every week. And he was there. And he's again, now as you say, the steady Eddie. 7 or 8 with Stuart. Great defender, great going forward, and great in the night out. And, he was a special player. And as I said, now I mentioned left backs, but he's duty always turned up, never missed training. And I think it was a 20,000 fine from Falkirk. I think Alec Taunton discovered him and came in, and what a job he done.
We've actually spoken about Stuart Monroe a couple of times in the pod in the last couple of years, and a few people say the same thing, that the first thing they say is Graham Souness kept on trying to replace him, but that's like above and beyond like football and ability. See, having the character to come back for that or even raise your game, that must take some doing.
Right, but as I said, with Stuart, he was great, great mentality, great desire, and came. And there's everything else now. Sometimes there's obstacles thrown in front of you, and but you push them away, push them to the side. And me, Stuart, as I said, come in and you get total respect for players like that, because they relish every moment they've got at the club. And if somebody's maybe going to say, I'm going to bring a left back in, you're determined not to make it your last game. And me, Stuart, I said, now stuck away and get back in the team, and then performed again. Then another player would come, but then we get back in the team and play again. And then just, if you look at the games and the honours he's won for the club, and an outstanding contribution to the club, he's Stuart.
No, that's a good choice to award the Unsung Hero title to.
Different class he was.
Brilliant. Do you think it's probably now fans who were maybe younger at the time watching Stuart Munro, or even young adults, they're looking back and recognising him enough? Do you think he gets the recognition enough now looking back?
I don't think it is, because in that team there's few now, the iconic players that sit out. But me, Stuart, as I said, now was there, never let anybody down. And as I said, now it's when you're winning things, there is players now. There is your marquee players at the time we had now with Butcher, Cooper, McCoy, Terry Butcher, Woodsy, Graham Roberts, all now high profile signings. But now there is now the ones now. I'm talking about myself, Derek Fergus. Now the kids that come through now, you just Stuart Munro's. Now, even your Ted McMahons that come in now from now minimal money and come in and contributed to the club, and they're the ones that now, as I said, we usually call them the steady pegs that fly under the radar, but they're always there when they're required. And me, Stuart Munro was always there, and they would play anywhere. I know a couple of times, but due to injuries, now obviously left back, but he's playing it right back and covering for people, and that was just a great to have him. But as I said, now, in the dressing room, he was a wee silent assassin as well. And now the night suit now. He was there to the death with Stuart, so it was a great boy.
It's always a quiet one you need to watch in a night.
Oh, exactly. Plus, he's got a wee Australian background, so I think he could stay. He could stay the full 3 miles at Cheltenham.
Fair play to him. So, on to the next question, Ian. And again, these questions are like we try and leave them vague, as many vague ones in as we can, open to your own interpretation. But what's your biggest Rangers regret, if any?
Obviously the injury. Just that now, when you're flying, then you're all of a sudden the train comes off the tracks, and that's just a moment in my career now. Regrettable, yes, but unfortunately, off the club now stuck by me, and no stone was unturned in terms of getting the medical advice and medical structure to get me back playing again. And I'm eternally grateful to the club, because after a couple of times now unsuccessful, but they went and sourced America and got me America. And as I said, now I want to just get back playing again. I didn't know what level I'd get back at. I just want to get back and put on the jersey. Maybe if it was one more time, I'd have been made up. And but again, I get back to a level, not the level. I was nowhere near the level I could have been or should have been, but just getting back playing, and I had to adapt my whole game again in terms of changing it. But that's the only thing. The rest it's been now winning things, meeting people, special friendships, and that's it was a sore one. But as I said, now there's a lot worse things have happened. You see what's going on just now over in Russia and that. Now there's a lot worse things than me getting injured, but that was a sore one. And but I get back, and as I said now, when you run it for your comeback game, and there's nearly 35,000 people showing their appreciation for you now, it's mind-boggling to think now. I'm going out now, normal reserve game, think there may be 300 or 400, and then all of a sudden they're coming in the droves, they're coming in from everywhere, and that's the thing that lives me for now the rest of my life. Now, yes, it was taken away from me, but I battled back, and I get back to a level I thought there was a respectability in terms of playing.
No, and it's what a comeback it was with the length of time and the nature of the injury, and he come back and be successful. And as you say, like, just have that, still have the fans adore you, turning up like that for a reserve game. It's just testament to yourself, really, and what you were doing for the club.
But just the fans now, I'm a fan. Grown up, died in the will, and now, but that just shows you now. That day was just now a fan appreciating the fans turning up. and it was just a memorable day. And the thing about it was it was touching, man. It was one of the last times my dad seen me playing, and he died not long after that. And but so he got to see me back playing again, and that was the main thing. Because during the time my dad suffered, obviously me being out injured and being a grumpy so and so, but he was always there to reassure me I was going to get back playing again. So sad times, but good times.
Aye, and it must have. Aye, it's just echoing what you say. Like you're not the only one that was delighted to see you come back. The whole Rangers support. So it's a comeback to last the test of time. It's still what we talk about.
My debut against Morton in 1984 and my comeback game against Hibs Reserves was the only time Cannon Park shut down 2 days to come and watch me.
Cannon Park's favourite Sonny and Durrant, eh? Wouldn't they have it any other way?
That's a great place.
So, into the last three questions. Next one, bringing the mood back up a wee bit, because we don't want to talk too much about
No, that's something that's forgot about.
So what's your favourite Rangers song?
Oh, I love the Blue Sea Ibrox. Just the way it is, and the other songs. Obviously, you get Follow. I mean, that's the nature of the beast now. The songs now, when they're coming out the tunnel, you hear these now 40,000 bells belting it out. Now that's when you know. That's when you finally know you've made it. When now you come out and you hear they stands now. Follow Rangers, and it's an incredible atmosphere. There's other songs now you get involved in, but now due to the content we can't go there. But that was just part and parcel. When you went to watch Rangers, you sang these songs. But now it's fairly mature now and tapered, and I think now the Union Bells bring a great advert in terms of the songs they make up and what they do now. I find they've got to the club now, and they bring a great atmosphere to it.
They do, and you notice when and there's very few occasions when the Union Bells only own it on their game, but you notice there's a couple of times in the last couple of years where I think they've done a silent protest for the first half, and then there was another game where it goes, and you see the difference in Ibrox, don't you?
Oh, of course, and the players will react to that as well, because they are the 11th man, I think now. We were on the ropes against Dortmund just before half time, and they had that wee spell, but the Union Bells raised it again and got us to half time. Then now the second half they turned it again, and you can see it after you watch the game and you see all the players that now their appreciation to go up and seeing them after the game is second to none.
Would you like to see I know the Union Bells have been campaigning to speak to the club about getting maybe a bigger section for themselves, or even a safe standing sections. Is it something you'd ever like to see at Ibrox?
It'd be great if it creates an atmosphere. Now, I always loved the East Enclosure, the atmosphere that created, and but it's supply and demand now. Now the demand for tickets and now season tickets is going through the roof. Now the club being successful, and if they can accommodate now, I'm sure. But there is that now. People obviously trying to get season books all over the place. So if now a lot of clubs are trying to interpret the safe standing, and I think if it creates a bit of atmosphere now, you've got to get them into the grounds now, because there is, I know, the All City Stadium for the safety aspect, but I just remember that East Enclosure now, and some of the times I was in it, and some of the times I was on the field watching it, and it just looked as though it was bouncing all over the place.
So I think for me, just hearing the stories about the old East Enclosure as well, never lucky enough to experience them, but
you loved it.
It's the stuff of legend, man. And if we can even get a fraction of that back to let us see it, it'd be fucking phenomenal. It really would.
Oh, frightening, absolutely frightening.
So you're going for the Blue Sea Ibrox is your favourite song then?
Yeah, it's always a great song, and I think now for us older ones now, sort of that's the song we sing.
Aye, no, I'm always a wee bit apprehensive when I ask that question in case somebody gets me shut down, but that's.
Oh, you're fine, don't worry.
No, always joking. On to the next one, mate. So second last question: if you could relive one Rangers moment or one day in your lifetime, what one would it be?
Several, but honestly, my debut, the day you live the dream. 1985 April 1985 at Morton. Not the most salubrious stadiums, but that's where I made my debut. And I remember in the tunnel, and obviously there is nerves. Obviously, when you're debuting, David Cooper's, and now David Cooper's behind me and just gives a wee tap and says, "Don't be afraid to make any mistakes, wee man." And I felt 10 foot tall after that. Now you look at David Cooper and now the time it took just to make my debut. Now it could be easy just to sit in the tunnel and I'll stand in the tunnel and just let me get out. But he reassured me and I went on. And we won 3-0. Super Ali got a hat trick and then had a couple of assists for Coist and then we struck up a great relationship. But that just now that was a day now I dreamed of and wanted so much to play for Rangers. And I made it at debut at Morton. And that's the ultimate for me, just making your debut. You maybe only get one game. I said I was fortunate enough to play a right few times, but if that had been one only, I'd be made up in heaven.
It must. You said you felt 10 foot tall after David Cooper saying that to you, but it must be surreal just lining up for your day, like a young guy being a boyhood fan, lining up with the likes of David Cooper, Ali McCoist, Ali Dawson. That's already.
Derek Johnson was playing as well, and big Peter McCloy, and show me age now, but they were great. As I said, now that Big Joke had no qualms. Robert Fleck played that day as well, and it was just that was it. The experienced boys looked after you, but you went out and just made sure I was going to make an impact, and I did, and I stayed in the team until the end of the season, and then carried on from there for the next a few seasons after that.
Yeah, you'll only ever get one debut, so I'm glad it was a happy one, mate.
That's it. So yeah, it was good. It was a great day, and Super Ali again with a hat trick. So that was just things to come, and years later, now we're still doing it, and we're still seeing each other, and he still reminds me about my debut and him scoring a hat trick.
Only he would steal the show. Only.
Oh yeah, listen, he's done it a million times. Now I just accept it now.
So, the 10th and final question, I need two answers for you here. So, if you could go for a drink with any Rangers manager, past or present, and any Rangers player, past or present, who would you take for a pint?
I would be me, the Gaffer, and Coister. Sadly missed again. I know. I'd just love to see him again, hear his voice a lot now in terms of on social media, but sad. It was a sad day. He went too early for that's the cruel disease. But just I'd love to sit down myself, the Gaffer and Coisty, and have his wee favourite glass of red and a wee Italian which he loved, and talk what we always done, talked about football, talked about Rangers.
Brilliant, and it's obviously the tributes to Walter Smith's been fitting and been amazing, and they've, we're still talking about him.
Special man.
Such a special man, and to thousands and millions of supporters who've never had a chance to meet him. I've never had a chance to meet him, but I see him as the Rangers father figure. He's, as soon as you said the Gaffer, I knew you didn't mean, as soon as you didn't mean McLeish, you didn't mean, well, I knew you meant Walter Smith. I see him as the Rangers manager. But it must have been such an honour to spend so much time with him.
It was, and I'm in a fortunate position. Now I can call him a friend, and a great friend at that. And all know he's my manager, and he looked after me when I was going through the bad days with injury, my mentor and everything. But we became really great friends, along with Coisty and Coach, and obviously Roy Graham Souness and other people. And now I valued him as a great friend, not as a manager. But that was the main thing for me. I had a great relationship with his family and everything, and still do to this day. But special man, as I said, but sadly missed. Can I hear you now? Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, can you hear me now?
That's it. You mute me.
No, I muted myself by accident.
Oh, no.
But no, absolutely, Walter Smith, sadly missed, as you say, but the other special man you spoke about there, everybody's favourite cheeky wee guy, Ali McCoist, he even for an outside looking in, for a fan's perspective, again, millions of folk have never met him, but he's so unanimously, universally loved. Even now when he's doing his commentary, he's. But is he still a wido nowadays?
Oh, he's wide on the Clyde, but he's a unique wido. Coisty, if people have never met Coisty, if you ever get a chance, or he's in company, go there. Charming, great boy, funny, wicked sense of humour, as we all have now. We had to in that dressing room, but just an all-round good guy. He's probably my best friend in football. Still talk regular. I still give him pelters in the morning when he's on Talk Sport. If he gets a question wrong, I'm on text, not on listening. It's just good. But the only thing is we don't meet up as much now. Maybe due to our age, and we can't handle it as much. But Cheltenham's coming up, so I'm going to give him a call and see what he's doing Cheltenham time, and maybe get a couple of days with him down at Cheltenham.
Good. Cut of beers, cut of bets, and a cut of reminders that he scored a hat-trick in your debut.
Probably, he'll bring a hat-trick, but it's a couple of drinks, but it's just try to get a bet on, because it's that busy, and you'll just stick a place spot or go to the tote, and you'll have a couple of drinks, and you'll probably forget there's a race on or something. It's amazing what a place it is. If you ever get a chance in the bucket list, get down to Cheltenham. What an experience.
Aye, I've only been to races once, and my bank balance was too pretty the next day. So
I know. Sometimes you get carried away, but get the place spot on the morning, and that's it. If it's down in the first race, then that's you. Just have a couple of sherbets after that.
Happy days. Well, Ian, that's the end of the 10 questions. No, but it was brilliant to listen to you and listen to you go through it. But how was it for you, going down memory lane?
It's a pleasure. Honestly, I've not been doing a lot of social media stuff for a while now, and it was great to come on, and thanks very much. Hopefully, you'll get a few listening. But thanks again, Colin. I appreciate it, and 10 great questions.
Oh, and hope I didn't make you feel too old when I asked you what age your debut was, mate.
I can tell with the grey hair how old I'm all.
No, but listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thanks again, and thank you to everybody that's listening. As always, really appreciate you tuning in. And if you want to come on and answer your 10 questions on your time following Rangers, try and top Ian Durrant. I dare you to come on and try.
No, there'll be plenty to top me, but good luck, and I hope you get as many clicks and viewers and everything. So anybody listening, click on and give Colin a mention. He's doing a sterling job and a great job. So once again, Colin, thank you.
No, thank you, Ian, and take care, everyone.
Pleasure. Same to you.